right. So have you ever thought about like actually becoming a morning person?
Like one of those people who, actually enjoys getting out of bed early.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of hitting snooze like 5 times before you can even see straight.
Right. Because honestly, I think a lot of us have heard that whole early bird gets the worm thing, but
But does it actually make a difference?
right. Like, what are the real benefits and how do you even make it a habit?
So that's what we're diving into today. We took a deep dive into this podcast called Morning Mindset.
Hosted by Alex and Jamie.
Yeah. And let me tell you, they are all about those early mornings.
Oh, they're definitely morning enthusiasts.
Big time.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is they actually go beyond just, the typical stuff about being more productive.
Yeah. They actually connect waking up early to something they call proactive momentum.
Proactive
It
momentum.
sounds kind of catchy, right?
I mean, it definitely has a ring to it, but what does it actually mean?
So they argue that basically when you kind of win the morning, you set this positive tone for the entire day.
Okay, I'm listening.
It's like instead of, reacting to whatever the day throws at you, you're starting off by proactively shaping it.
So you're not just like hitting the ground running because you overslept and are already behind on everything.
Exactly. It's more like, starting the day on your own terms.
Makes sense. And I think Alex actually even shared a story about this, right?
He did. He talked about how he used to be constantly stressed out.
Oh, I can relate to that.
Like he was always playing catch up with everything. And then he started waking up early and dedicating that time to things that he wanted to do.
Like what kind of things?
He mentioned writing in a journal and exercising, just things that he enjoyed and that made him feel good.
And that actually helped with his stress.
He said it totally shifted his mindset. He felt more in control, less reactive to everything going on around him.
It's like that feeling of starting the day already stressed just melts away.
Exactly.
And they talk a lot about the benefits of having that quiet time to yourself before the world wakes up, right?
Right. And they really emphasize that this isn't just about, getting a head start on your to-do list or anything like that.
It's more than that.
It's about your mental well-being, too. Jamie actually described it as creating a buffer between you and the world.
I like that.
So, you have this dedicated time to ease into the day.
Without immediately being bombarded by, emails and messages and all that stuff.
Exactly. And that can really help reduce those feelings of overwhelming anxiety that so many of us feel, when we have our rushed morning.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I definitely feel that. So wait, they mentioned reduced stress and anxiety as a benefit of waking up early. Did they actually go into any detail about how that works?
They did touch on the science a bit.
Okay, so there's some actual science behind this.
Right. They talked about how cortisol, which is the stress hormone, naturally peaks in the morning. So by waking up early, you're essentially like syncing your day with your natural cortisol rhythm.
Interesting.
It's like you're riding that wave of energy instead of, fighting against it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So you're not jolting yourself awake when your body's not actually ready.
Right.
But let's be real here. Not everyone's, jumping out of bed at the crack of dawn, excited to start the day.
Oh, absolutely.
We all know the temptation of the snooze button.
The snooze button is a powerful force.
It really is. So did Alex and Jamie talk about that at all?
Oh, yeah. They actually spent a good chunk of time discussing why that snooze button is so darn tempting.
So spill the beans. What's the deal with the snooze button? Why is it so hard to resist?
Well, they talked about something called sleep inertia.
Sleep inertia.
Yeah. It's basically that groggy feeling you have right after waking up,
Oh, yeah, I know that feeling.
and hitting the snooze button actually only prolongs that feeling.
So it's like you're stuck in this weird in-between state.
Exactly. Not fully awake, but not really asleep either.
The worst of both worlds.
Right. And they argue that by getting up when your alarm first goes off, even if it's painful at first,
Oh, it's definitely painful.
you actually break that sleep inertia cycle, and you end up feeling much more alert throughout the morning.
Okay, so that makes sense. But how do we actually overcome this snooze button dilemma? What's the secret weapon?
Well, their solution is actually pretty simple. It's all about establishing a consistent sleep schedule.
Okay, so like going to bed and waking up at the same time every day.
Exactly.
Even on weekends.
Oh, man. Even on weekends. That's tough.
I know, it's not easy. But they stress that it's really important because it helps regulate your body's natural sleep-wake cycle.
So it's like training your body to expect sleep and wakefulness at certain times.
Right, and that makes it way easier to wake up feeling refreshed and ready to go.
So that's the key to conquering the snooze button.
It's definitely a big part of it.
Did they have any other practical tips for actually making this whole early rising thing a reality?
Oh yeah, they had a whole toolbox of tips.
Like what?
Well, the classic put your alarm clock across the room trick was in there, of course.
Yeah, that one's a tried and true method. Right. But they also recommended finding something you genuinely enjoy doing in the morning and making that your reward for getting up.
I love that idea.
Jamie said she loves taking her dog for a walk as the sun rises.
Oh, that's so nice.
It's something she really looks forward to, which makes getting out of bed a lot easier.
So it's all about finding what works for you.
Exactly. Turning that morning time into something you actually want to experience.
Instead of dreading it.
Right. It's not about forcing yourself into some rigid routine.
It's about creating a morning ritual that brings value to your day.
Exactly.
So if you're thinking about giving this whole early rising thing a shot, what's the key takeaway here?
I'd say it's all about finding what motivates you. What are those things you would love to do if you had the time? Could those become your morning rituals?
And what if shifting your morning routine had a ripple effect on other areas of your life?
Right. What if it led to more energy throughout the day or better focus?
Or even just like a greater sense of purpose?
It's definitely something to think about.
It is. Something to ponder.
Definitely.
So maybe ditch that snooze button and see what happens.
You never know. Could change your whole day.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll catch you next time.
See ya.